And you got time to play games or just busy always after joining the industry? I mean, I just put 50 hours into Metaphor, so I guess I find time to play games. I also like exercise like 14 hours a week. So there's time. You just need to use your time well, I guess. And a lot of my extra work is like self-inflicted extra work. It's not like I'm forced to do this. I like to do extra stuff. But yeah, no one has to work as hard as I do. It's my choice. What made me decide to pursue this path? I thought 3D was fun. This seemed pretty cool. I had no idea I was going to work on like Dune and all that sort of cool stuff. It's just how things happened. Life was very fortunate for me. You know, I worked really hard and things worked out quite well. That's pretty much it. You know, I worked hard and luck was on my side in some regards. Or I just took advantage of whatever situation I was in, I guess, and things worked out. At your job, working hard would just get you more work. Yeah, but for me, that was a good thing because the more I worked, the harder I worked at work, the more assets I got, the better my portfolio was. But I mean, a lot of my extra work I'm talking about was like outside of work. I mean, like no one made me write blogs and shit like that. Well, no one's making me stream. It's just because I want to. I just worked hard. It's not just at work. I mean, it's outside of work as well. It buffed your portfolio a lot. I mean, that was my plan, right? The plan was to work super hard at the start, make an amazing portfolio, and essentially set my career up. So like at the start, I worked too much. Like I know for a fact I worked too much at the start. But for me, it paid off. And I don't encourage everyone else to do that, but for me, it worked out. Is it necessary to work yourself to that extent to get work? I get that the industry is competitive, but when talking to people, it seems like 8 hours a day is too low. A day is low. I don't know. I think the reality is, what you have to be aware is it is a very competitive industry. And I don't encourage people to work a lot of hours. You just simply have to accept the fact that you're competing against other people that are working a lot of hours. And that's unfortunately just the nature of it. But the way I approached it was, I worked as hard as I could at the start to set myself up, and then I chilled out for a bit. But yeah, it's just something you have to kind of accept. Like in saying that, like most of my colleagues at work don't do what I do. Like very few actual VFX artists do personal work. So it's not like you have to do this. It's just what I do. But then don't be surprised if I get given the crazy cool hard surface work. I guess that's the thing, right? Like I put in the extra time to become like, you know, the hard surface guy. And then big surprise, I get given the cool hard surface work. So that's the way I approached it. Like I wanted to put in the effort to become known for hard surface. So when I do go to studios, I do get to do the cool work just because I've naturally invested this amount of time into myself where a lot of people haven't. But it's definitely not necessary to work like that. You really have to be built different to sustain in time 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. Oh, when I first started my career, I was doing 100-hour weeks. So that was like 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. Not saying anyone else should do that, and I highly encourage other people don't do that. But I'm just saying when I first started, I worked a lot, like a lot more than people probably realize. Then people ask me how I got lucky. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe 100-hour weeks might have something to do with it, but I don't know. It's not luck, it's hard work. I wouldn't say that. I think luck plays a part in everything. You just work hard to take advantage of, to put yourself in lucky situations. Like I know a big part of my career is luck and timing. I don't know. I think it's entirely about just like working hard to put yourself into the best position to get lucky. Or just like taking advantage of whatever situation you have found yourself in, pretty much. Like, you know, actors, writers strike. I just invested my time into doing personal stuff instead, because obviously work wasn't super fulfilling at that point. How would you balance hard work with social life? The way I do it is I have socially active physical activities. So I do like tricking, which kind of gets me my physical activity, like in breakdancing. I get, you know, the physical activity, which you should do. You should look after your body. And I just pair that with the social environment. So that's how I feel like I can get my training in, I can get my social activities, and then I can continue to work hard. That's how I've done it, I guess. So when we talk about work-life balance to me doesn't necessarily have to mean that you do every single day, you have X amount of work, X amount of free time, or each week you have X amount of free time, X amount of work. To me, I think work-life balance can also mean you go extremely hard working for like 2-3 months, and then you take a month off and chill. I personally think that is a better work-life balance to me. I think people assume work-life balance has to be every single day is balanced, every single week is balanced, but I think it's more productive if you like go extremely hard, get a project done in like 3 months, then take a month off, download that video game you wanted to play, go on that holiday you wanted. That's how I would recommend balancing, like going hard and then having times of rest. But no one talks about that balance for some reason. Everyone just assumes that everything must always be X amount of day each, like X amount of time per day has to be balanced. I don't think it really works that way. Like I'll do that. I'll be like, I know I have a big project coming up. I'm going to enjoy Space Marine 2 and just play the fuck out of that. Then get in my enjoyment from that, and then the project starts and I work hard. It's probably better to go the other way, do the project first, then reward yourself. But yeah, that's one way I think you can balance your life out. Like I kind of do the same thing with like cooking, for example. Like I'll have intense periods of cooking and I just won't cook for a bit and just focus on work. I think that's a good way of trying to balance your life out. But you know, whatever works for each other, like for each person, right? You don't have to do this. You agree with my way of balancing? It's what you do, and I felt it was right. I feel like I achieve more as well. If I go intense, do everything I need to, then I feel like I can enjoy my relaxing afterwards. You find it difficult to maintain friendships? Yeah, that's fair. I mean, even though I do this intensity, I still maintain my physical activity. So I still do see my friends. It's just more along the lines of like, I don't play many video games, but like maybe, you know, I'll get a game and I'll just binge the game like crazy for a few weeks to give myself like a well-deserved rest and then go back to work after. That's what I kind of mean. I guess that's the unpredictable nature of life leads to embrace it rather than try to micromanage on a daily basis. Yeah, I think the worst part is if you try and micromanage on a daily basis, you won't be able to do it. And then you will beat yourself up for not following your pattern. I used to do that all the time. I had a daily schedule and I just couldn't maintain it. And then I would like beat myself up for not being able to maintain it. And I was just like, that's not mentally good for me either. And the number of hours is what's important. Yeah, I should agree. I think so. I do agree. I do believe in like momentum though. If you drag something out too long, it might have diminishing returns. Because yeah, people think, oh, Andrew, you do nothing but work. But then if you look at my Steam account, my Metaphor, I've been playing Metaphor and it's at like 50 hours already. So it's like, I do find time to play games. I just like do it in like big chunks.